Here's my explanation for my routine power of the mind. Or was it mind power? Anyway, very happy with this because you never see the cards for a start. You're able to apparently, as well as find a random card that you predict, you're able to put a card that they're merely thinking of in a position in the pack where you can automatically spell to it the exact right position. From the right up, you get a feel for what I'm talking about. But here's the explanation. The great thing about this, they can shuffle the cards. All you need to know is the top card. Now, this is the only routine really where every routine is self-working in this ebook, but this has a tiny bit of sleight of hand, where it's something that can be learned, even by beginners, in a few minutes. I'll try and explain that as I go along. After they finish shuffling the deck, you need to know the top card. Now, the easy way to do that would be to grab the cards and say, okay, are you happy that they're shuffled well? And then I'm just looking straight at the top card, okay? Which in this case is the 5 of spades. The more subtle way about it, you take the cards back and you do a gambler's peek, which is simply bring your hand over, bottom left corner, lift it up very slightly, and you check, and you will see the index is the 5 of spades. Now, it's just done very casually, you know, it's done in seconds. That's called a gambler's peek. I'm just lifting the bottom corner, bottom left hand corner. That's the way I do it anyway. Now, all you have to do now is work out how many letters are in the 5 if you spell 5 of spades. Now, all the cards will spell between 10 and 13 letters. 10, 11, 12, 13 letters. 5 of spades is F-I-V-E-O-F, S-P-A-D-E-S. It's 12. A lot of them do spell to 12, actually. So the 5 of spades is 12 letters. All you need to do is count 12 cards without changing their order in front of the spectator, taking each one behind, like that. And what you're doing is you're asking them to think of a card and think of the number that it is at from the top, and you say, I will count them out loud. So you just remember the position, say the 6th card, and it's the 7 of hearts or whatever. And what you do, and it's the only move really in the trick, you do count them genuinely. You don't really show the first one, because you're going to be spelling to the 5 of spades in a bit. But the first one's a 5 of spades, and because you said between 1 and say 12 or 1 and 10, think of a number and then remember the card. You don't really show this one, and then you bring the cards up on the second one as you count 2. I've done this hundreds of times. No one's ever picked up on that. No one ever thinks of 1, because you're saying between 1 and 12 or 1 and 10 or 1 and 13 or whatever. But you know, because the 5 of spades 8, you are going to count 12, so it's 1. And we'll pretend that he's going to think of the 5th card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, during the trick, I'm never going to see this. But for now, I'll look. It's the 3 of spades. Okay? So the 5th card is the 3 of spades. And I'm just counting normally. That's 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And on the 12th card, I take this top card and slide it back here. Now, I'm going to come to the camera to show you this. This is what happens. On the 12th card, it comes over, and I just simply slide that over there and count 12, and that goes on top, okay? Now, I'll do that from this angle for you. Remember, although you don't know it, he's going to think of the 5th card, which is the 3 of spades. Now, you've already you know that's the 5, and you know it spells 12 cards. So you say, I'm going to count about 11 or 12 cards. Think of a card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now 11, yeah? And as you bring the 12th one over, you slide that top one back there. It's really quite easy, and that's the only sleight in the trick. Okay? So if you think about it, you've just displaced the top card to the 12th position, which is what it spells to. what's so clever, I think, about this routine is that you've also displaced the fact that their card is fifth, yeah? Because you've displaced the card, it's now actually fourth. Now, okay, it's always best at this stage to say, you know, are you thinking of a number and a card? And they're saying 5, yeah, the fifth, in their heads they're going, fifth card, 3 of spades, okay, fifth card, 3 of spades. Just think of it, obviously they only think that. And then you must at this stage, I'm saying, as I said before, this is the only trick with sleight of hand. You've got to do some shuffling here but keep the order the same. Again, the easiest way is just to overhand from the bottom, face up, about halfway, and then throw them on top. That's for a beginner. The more advanced worker can do a few false cuts. Yeah. And what you're saying is basically you are going to mix the cards up, because that's your excuse to say, well, obviously your card is no longer at the position that you were thinking of before, right? That stands to reason. So you say, I tell you what, don't tell me the card, but tell me the position. They say 5. Because you haven't really changed anything here, when you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is no longer their card, because the fourth card is their card and it's on the top of that dealt pile there. Okay? So you're just saying, look, it's not your card, is it? And they say, no. This is getting good. I pick up these. This means their card is now on the top. Okay? This is when I say to them, I tell you what, sometimes I have the ability to throw a thought into the deck. So I'm just going to name a random card before we get to your card. Let's say the 5 of spades. Now, you've already set this up that the 5 is in the right position, and you spell for each card for one letter. So it's F, I, V, E, O, F, S, P, A, D, E, S, 5 of spades. Now, because you've sort of set that to a random card, that's quite startling, really, because you haven't seen, apparently, any cards. But look at the beauty of this now. Their card is on the bottom of that pile. So it's almost there, it's almost in a position to be spelled, with some adjustment, which is tiny. Because what you do, you still don't know what card they're thinking of. This goes here, you know there's 12 cards in the pile, you pick this up and look at the card as you put them on. In this case, their thought card is the 3 of spades. So that goes there. Now you know there's one more letter in 3 than in 5. So you need to add one card on here. Now, don't worry about it, just simply grab the cards, slide one. That's one way of doing it. There's numerous ways you could do it. You know, you could even just lift them up, as I say in the write-up, and say, okay, so you could have picked, you know, any of these cards, right? Yeah? And just stick it on the top. And you're not going to move more than 1 or 2 cards, and in some cases it'll spell less. Okay? So you take the cards off and put them in from the top. Yeah? So if it spelled less, you'd go, I mean, you could have picked any card and just slide, and you see what I'm saying, and just get it in there until you're at the right position. Okay, so that's what you've done. You've because my 5 of spades, I need to add 1 extra card to the top to make it spell to 3 of spades. Dead easy. The adjustments, don't even think about it, just do it. You know, well, you know, you really did. These really are random cards. You could have thought of that card, yeah, and then just add it on. Or you could take one from the top. You could have thought of that one and then take it into the deck. So you adjust the number for their card. So I want you to think how cool this is. You give them the cards now and say, I don't know what your card is. You do, but you're pretending you don't. Could you spell it for me? And even don't tell me that. Just tell me the number. 3 THREEOFOF, and then you say, well, you need to spell the suit. SPADES, 3 of spades. So they just think of the card, and of course you're saying, well, you're giving them the ability to throw their thoughts into the deck. So that's the routine. I think it's a great routine on a lot of different levels. A little bit of sleight of hand. That one pullback on the last card counted is the only real piece of sleight of hand, which is really very easy to master. As with all these routines, if you've got a basic false shuffle and a basic false cut to add to the routine, it always helps, and they're very easy to learn. Hope you enjoy it.